Hello, I am Seal, and I just came back to home, I guess. And I was gonna make this video on reviews. So I was asked multiple times, I think, to do reviews on my on my stuff, like I don't know, like my knot, and I kind of wanted to explain why it's hard for me to do that. So there's a lot of problems with my knot, my knot clone. So I don't know if you ever like. I can review it because I have had like a ton of experience with it, but it's I don't really like talking too much about um about things like that because one, I I'm a, I'm a very flipper oriented person. I um I don't really care too much about materials and whatever, unless they have a different feel and whatever. But I just I'm very simple in terms of even I don't care about too much about specs or even play and tap and whatever. And the problem with me is that I don't have much experience, so I don't actually have uh what's it called? I don't have experience flipping a lot of valleys. I have very few valleys, and I stay with them for a really long time. So, and then I'm not like, okay, this is kind of weird to say, but I'm not like all the other people. All right, I stick with my valleys for a very long time, and I don't get new ones often. So, and some people just have reviews like popping up like left, right, and center after they get their uh their valleys, and I'm not really that kind of guy, because I have a I don't know if I would say different experience than other people, but I have a slightly different, like, and plus lots of people, they don't I feel like, I don't know if this is pretentious for me to say, but I feel like I pressure test my 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 Balisongs with very like semi upper level flipping, and so I don't know. So I don't know how exactly other people view it. Like when people say, "Oh yeah, this is like this," and this like, "I like this," and it has no flaws and whatever. But then when I spend time with it, I find the flaws very blaring, very like obvious, and like because I spend like a lot of time and I do a lot of tricks. Like I have more tricks than probably the average whatchamacallit, review YouTuber, I guess. Like some people have similar amounts, but I don't think anybody's got. People have like a lot more than I do, and I don't know. I just have a different like way of uh just like looking at things. So and so this is where I feel like I'm different than most people. It's because I main my Balisongs like far more than other people do. I feel like people switch around. People just like trade. They like they don't stick with one Balisong. They're like, oh yeah, I love flipping this Balisong, but they actually have a lot of other Balisongs that they just like randomly switch to. Well, am a 3 Balisong Andy, so these are the Balisongs that I've flipped for a very long time. I think for a decent amount of time, and they hardly switch. Like this only switched like kind of recently with the barrels, or not the barrels, but like the spacer thingies. Like they've only changed recently, and that's because I hate it, because I was so tired of this of the way it flipped and stuff like that. But I flipped this for a very long time, and made it. I feel like I know it deeper than most people do, because people only spend like a short period of time, or they have a bunch of other Balisongs that they switch around to, and they switch and they switch. But I only had this Balisong for like, and it was like my main. I only flipped one other Balisong. Like even I'm not that good to main it for only flip it. Sorry, to only flip it. But I flipped it like enough to say that it's pretty much my main. But yeah. So the problem with this is that people say it's neutral, and people say whatever about it, but it's actually like you can feel the handle bias like really firmly on this thing. And it's a bit of a problem and good because at the time I was not like super great at flipping and whatever. I was still getting my tricks done and whatever, but I was like kind of struggling and kind of getting carried by this because of the strong handle bias that people don't like really care to look at because they don't main it like I do or have it like I do. So there's like a deep ass weighty in the handles feel, and the blade doesn't like have like a ton of tip weight and whatever, but there's these like this blocks of aluminum in the back, and the weight is kind of distributed so that the handles carry momentum well. And yeah, I think it's good. Like that's like it's 70-75, although I don't recommend beating it or whatever. Novices are never for beating. And yeah, it's pretty much my baby. Like I would fix it if I wasn't ever so lazy. And yeah, I don't usually do reviews because I hardly have anything to say. And even though I have like this experience like maining this Balisong, like I don't know, like I like things to be simple. I like things to just flip good, and that's pretty simple, I guess. Like sometimes things don't flip good for a little bit, but then you can get used to it, I guess. But you can just like I don't know. I'm not very good at doing reviews, honestly. I'm not a big review guy. I like focusing on the flipping more of the hobby. No, and honestly, I could give less of a poop on how like specs. Like people are crazy about specs, about sound, about whatever. I feel like these people are slightly missing the point of this hobby. But that's just my opinion, and I don't really care about those people that much. Like sometimes like focusing on specs is good and all, but when people ask you how things are and they say only the specs, I just get annoyed. So I feel like that's the best way to become a politician. It's to say absolutely nothing about how it actually flips, but to only say the specs, which absolutely tells me almost absolutely nothing that I want to know. So, or people calling everything neutral, I don't know. That's just a whole other problem. Like, I can semi feel when things are neutral, I guess, because I've experimented with weights and whatever, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say when things are neutral exactly, and just people just labeling it just neutral. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, that's about it for me, and I'll see you probably.